Hello, good evening, everyone. As you see from the titles, I am going to be going over the Lyran history. Although I deleted my last message because it was more so personal for me to find out some things that I have been asking my eternal self about, more of my history, not just the history that we're taught, in school or you would go learn about in college. So, and also, I want to kind of break this up into a few sessions. I labeled this one part one because there's a lot to cover. There is a lot. So, without further ado, I am going to start. Um, I'm going to begin this teaching about the Lyran history. Okay, so I had to put my glasses on so I can read properly. So, without further ado, um, the main battles in human galactic history were fought in the constellation of Orion. And also, these many wars are also referred to as Orion Wars. So, I'm going to take a second to um, go over that. It says in our universal time matrix, the wars started over territories in the constellation of Lyra, which is Lyra. It also has the cradle of Lyra, but also the Lyran War spread it to the constellation of Orion, and it became a war between false kingdoms of the Tyrian mindset and the ideologies with I- ideological of the service of others. So I want to go and see what they say about what is the universal time matrix. And they basically have like a I'll see if I can show you guys, see if I can make it bigger. It says the universal time matrix. I hope you all can see that. I'm trying to, yeah, trying to see if I can make it bigger for you all, which is basically from what I'm seeing. It has these, if you can see that right there, that's 3D up there at the top, the pink one, and the blue one is actually 5D. Excuse me, the pink one is 7D, and the blue one has 5D, and then the green one that represents the planet Earth is 3D. And now I'll make it smaller. It says a time matrix is a map of all the timelines in which the consciousness moves that are which the consciousness moves that are taking place within the entire time matrix. It is in the mathematical program by which the consciousness experiences time in matter. The cosmic structure contains 615. It says 615 dimensional universe time for the purpose of the consciousness individualization into dimensionalization in order to experience perception of time, and to which are collectively referred to as the time matrix. It also says that the universal time cosmological of 12 dimensions time space cycles within the 15th dimensional wave spectrum. Each harmonic universe is equal to the triad of spiritual identity that our consciousness evolves through as our personality. So the personality within, you hear people, and even Miss Isis, Wisdom was talking about, and a few others, Brother Wisdom, also uh, Rashid Jamal. He also speaks about these, the shift from 3D to 5D. So as it states here, each harmonical universe is equal to the triad of spiritual identity. Our consciousness evolves through our personality. So the personality is in between 1, 2, and 3D. Your soul, your soul is in the dimension of 4, 4, 5, and 6D. Oversoul, which is the monad, which is in between 7D, 8D, and 9D. The avatar or crystals, which is spelled like almost Christ, but it has the OS at the end. So crystals, which is the 10D, 11D, and 12D. And the founder of the consciousness is 13D, 14D, and 15D. As you hear people in the conscious or woke community speaking about the shift from 3D to 5D. So, here in the information that I was blessed to come across, it says that our personalities consist of 1D, 2D, and 3D. And those, the D represents a dimensionalization. So your personality is 1D, 2D, 3D. Your soul is 4, 5, and 6D when you make that soul connection. As they say, the mind, body, and soul. And the oversoul, which is the monad, is in between 7D, 9D, 7, 8, and 9D. So I want to click on that. This is a picture that I want to show you all of the third triad of intelligence, which are basically, it involves your chakras. If you all can see that, I'll slide it down so you can see. I hope you guys can see that. And that picture there that you see right there, it's like what you see when you see pictures of a representation of your chakras that we have in our bodies. So it says that for the moad, monad, 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 monad. The spirit body of the monad is a higher mind uh, function of the observer. Okay, it says watching and aware of forms, concepts, and making assessments. And it's the higher mind principle consciousness that comes to the neutral consciousness and decision base of accumulation of experiences. So the spirit body, as it said, it has the function of the observer. Like you observe, you're watching, and you're aware and forming concepts of making assessments. It also goes on to say when the spirit is in control of the nervous system of the body, it makes higher evolution of the conscious actions possible, of the consciousness actions possible. And right now I'm going over the third triad of intelligence, which is also in this particular study. As I said, it's a lot to go over. So just bear with me. I'm not going to keep you out too long. I'm going to also do like a part two. Moving right along, it says the spirit body comes from, the spirit body comes in at a moment of conception through the permanent seed of Adam and the higher heart complex to guide. So, as it said, the spirit body comes in, and also this resonates with me about the scripture that I read, I believe, um, maybe in Second Peter that I went over, and it talked about the star God wants to rise within your heart, um, to uncircumcise your heart, for you to uncircumcise your heart, or the circumcision in the Bible text represents your heart chakra, is what I want to say, and is what I'm grasping from this. I'll reread that for you all. It says the body comes in at the moment of conception through the permanent seed Adam, and the higher heart, so that's your heart chakra complex, to guide the formation of the human being's blueprint and to prepare for incarnation. It says unresolved soul trauma can block the spirit from evolving the conscious to activate the higher heart. As I mentioned in a few of my videos, going over some of my spiritual talk with some of you all, things that you are distracted by, negative things, people that you may be around, places that you may be in that vibrate on a lower frequency, can send a block. We all have a consciousness, of course, or being conscious. We all have that. And as this says, that the unresolved soul trauma can cause a block. And also it resonates when I went over in another one of my YouTube videos about the saying that says um, that many are called but few are chosen, or have chosen, I would say. Many are called but few have chosen to, heed the call within yourself that's trying to instruct you and create balance within you. If that is making sense to you all, I'm going to move right along. I'll reread that particular section right there. It says, the spirit body comes in at the moment of conception through the permanent seed Adam and the higher heart complex to guide the formation of the human being blueprint to prepare for incarnation. Unresolved soul trauma can block the spirit from evolving the consciousness to activate the higher heart. The heart represents love and peace. Love and peace. So, to activate the higher heart, as the soul and spirit are involved in the spiritual functions of the heart, of course, it says that the soul and spirit. So you have a soul, which is your energy source from within you. But you also have a spirit. As I used to be a cheerleader, it took you to have a certain type of, a spirit, to root for other people, or to, root for your home team. And, you know, I remember this chant we used to do. We got spirit, yes we do. We got spirit. How about you? And we used to get the fans that would come and watch the football and basketball games involved. We used to say that little chant about we have spirit. So in this one right here, it resonates and says that the soul and spirit, so they are separate. Your spirit, whatever spunk you have about yourself, and your soul um, is what you are embodied by, that energy, that source, that atom seed. is the soul. Your atom seed is your soul, and the spirit is pretty much the personality that you have, that spunk or whatever, spirit that you have within you. So the spirit and soul are two, meaning separate. So it says, as the spirit and soul are involved in the spiritual functions of the heart, the core essence of the spirit within human beings exists in the heart seed. Excuse me. And is moving throughout time and space eternally. Moving throughout, as the Bible says, in your body should flow rivers of living water. And as the spirit moves through your body, like water, that's why we have to drink, lots of water. Honest to God, you do, to feed your organs, to feed your body. And not just in reference to this, but the water help to energize the body as well as your spirit from within you. As you know, our soul is it has energy. It's electric energy, atom. So um, water also can create a certain type of energy. That's why it's necessary for us to drink water. And just in reference to why I mentioned that, because it says that the core essence of the spirit within the human being experience and the heart seed, and it's moving throughout time and space um, internally, which is within you, your spirit moving, the core essence of your spirit within the human being existence. So moving right along, and I'm almost finished with this particular one. It says that the monad spiritual body triad is the seventh, eighth, and the ninth layer. And I speak about layers and levels to everything. It's layers and levels to you as an individual, it's layers and levels of creation, it's levels to everything in this world, everything about you and the next person, as well as everything around us. It's levels and layers of everything. So it says that the seventh, eighth, and ninth layer, the spiritual body triad, is the seventh, eighth, and ninth layer, but it starts connecting at the eighth chakra, levels of thymus gland, the thymus gland, which is the higher heart. So your heart chakra is the thymus gland, which is the higher heart, and most of the moad starts coming in like this. The whole heart complex changes pattern, meaning the heart chakra is no longer in an astral heart. The fourth chakra is a blue aqua heart. The heart chakra turns blue, and the frequency coming through starts turning blue. So it says that the heart chakra turns blue and the frequency coming through starts turning blue. It says this is the connection to turquoise, the color turquoise. It says of the mother arc, which ignites the inner Holy Spirit called the Amoria flame. In one of my other videos that I did, I talked to you all about in reference to the fifth element, that fire, that fire, not necessarily like the man-made fire, but the fire from within, which is the Amoria flame. So the eighth dimension is a gold color, but when the moad starts flowering in the diamond heart, and the heart starts to configure, it actually looks blue They also call this configuration the living crystal lotus heart of crystal rose heart. So that is what I wanted to go over, just for you all as well as myself. I'm still learning, and as I go along within my learning, I wanted to share that with you all. I was going over the universal timex, which consists of the different heart chakras and the different dimensions that you actually shift to, or that the spirit actually has to go through, um, and everything is internal. So moving right along, and the reason why I brought that particular, hang on, one more, because I'll go back over the beginning of what I started with. It says the main battles in the human galactic history were fought in the constellation of Orion, and these many wars also referred to as Orion Wars. However, in our universal timex, so that's why I paused and went to there, to the time, to the universal time matrix. The war started over territories in the constellation of Lyria, the crater of uh, Lyra. The Lyrians are the advanced race that created the Elohim. So I'm trying to find more about my galactic or celestial background, and within doing so, I received this information that I just picked up on that I'm sharing with you all. It's a lot, and I'm going to break it up in sections, with you all. So it says that the Lyrian are the advanced races that created the Elohim, which I refer to as, God Himself. In the Avatar, it says that the Lyrians are the advanced race that created the Elohim in the Avatar. In Avatar, I would say that that's body. So I want to click on the Elohim. When I clicked on the Elohim, this is the picture that came up right there. I hope you all can see that. It's a diamond with gold wings and a 6, and a 6-pointed star around it. So it says that the Lyrians further down step their consciousness into the next level density. And I believe this is somewhat, something that Isis wisdom was going over about, you being able to elevate into and to shift yourselves from 3D into 5D. And even there's still other levels above that to climb and to reach in frequency and elevation. So it says that the Lyrians the Lyrians further down step their consciousness into the next lower density in the third harmonic layers by creating another identity. And these race lines were designed to exist within dimensional layers of the of the monoac, which is what I just went over with the chakras, spirit plane. So it's the spirit plane within your bodies, the different chakras, and those different dimensions from within you. It says that this race was created by the Lyrian founders to specifically oversee the project of the Lyrian Syrian genetic seeds occurring on Tyra, which is another planet, Tara. So it says, I'll read that one more time. It says the Lyrian, this race was created by the Lyrian founders to specifically oversee the project of the Lyrian Syrian genetic seedings occurring on Tara. And these particular groups are known as the Elohim. Further, also the Syrian High Council was organized and then appointed by the Lyrians to be the main overseers of the seeding life on the planet uh, Tara, and the next lower dimension by second harmonic universe. Once again, this is the Elohim, what they created. I hope you all can see that. So I'm going to go back to the main um, where I was. It says that the Lyrian are the advanced race that created the Elohim. So now, we know what the Elohim is in the avatar matrix. It says, but soon the Lyran War spread into the constellation of Orion. As you all remember about this war that took place in the skies. Um, it says, but soon the Lyran War spread to the constellation of Orion, and it became a war between false kings of the Tyrian mindset and ideologies with ideology with ideology of service to others. So I'm going to click on where it says the false kings of the tyranny mindset, the Tyrian mindset, the false kings of the Tyrian mindset. So let's see about the false kings of the Tyrian mindset. It says the Tyrian, they were negative alien-like group of the NAA, which represents the NAA represents in my studies that I were able to the Ascension glossary. It referenced them being the reptilians. Okay, so it say the reptilians are the negative ones, and just coming outside of the study for a moment, I believe those are the ones that are actually leading this timeline that we're in right now. The negative ones. Let's let me go on so you can see that too. So it says the negative alien group, or the NAA, do not want to heal, whereby into human society as an equal. So they don't want us to be equal, even though they didn't want to follow Crystal, which Christ, I'll go over that in a minute. It was one law that everybody, followed by, which was love and peace. That was the law. I'll go over that later on. But it says that the NAA do not want to heal, thereby integrate into human society as an equal. They want to rule humans in earth in absolute authority with an iron fist, and the controller of the false kings of the tyranny. Yeah, tyranny. This is also called a this is also called the power elite. The power elite are the group of humans that have been uh, handed the control over the majority of resources of the planet in order to carry out an anchor deception strategy that the NAA, which they are the reptilians, has put into place to ensure war, enslavement, mind control programming continue to divide and conquer the human population of the earth. Okay, so this is for everyone, no matter what ethnic background you are, no matter where you are on this planet. If you're not one of the disagreeable ones or the elites that are ran and that are reptilians, then this is for you as well. This is exactly what we all are experiencing and witnessing with our own eyes. These reptilian race being in power right now with the mind control. Um, they don't want to be considered as equal to the humans. They want to continue to divide and conquer the human population, and that's exactly what they are doing. And this is for every ethnic background. This is also a universal message for everyone. This is self-forcing system of mind control um, promoted through all world organization to shape ideologies and values based on deception behaviors and predator a predator mind. Excuse me, y'all, my pronunciation and the slip of the tongue, but don't let that throw you off the message of negative aliens, those humans that feed false king of the tyranny are rewarded monetarily. As you see that, you see black leaders, or I don't even want to say black, because black and white mean two different things. When you look up the definition of white, it means pure. It's and white, we call Caucasians white people, and we should not call them that, because anybody the word white means pure, a pure form of anyone. So if you operate in righteousness with a pure heart, and you treat everybody the way that you want to be treated and not in a negative way, because you can treat people a certain type of way, and then you would, basically want them to treat you the same way. So if you treat somebody with negativity, you want them to give you back negativity. No, that's where you turn the other cheek and like, no, I ain't finna get pulled down on your lower level. When people come at y'all negative and stuff like that, as well as myself too, I'm not gonna have them pull me down on their level, because clearly I'm above their level. It's levels to everything. So when you understand the type of mind games that people play on each other, then you will understand what I mean by, and as well as black. Do y'all see this band around my bonnet? That's black. I'm not that color. Okay, I am brown. See my eyebrows and my hair is darker than me. My hair means black, and black means something else as well. So I don't know why we continue in this day and age to allow these titles to be placed on us. Like, you have a ethnic background. If anything, call me my ethnic background. I'm not an African American either, because I did not come from Africa. I was born here. My family history, my family tree is in America. And we all know um, the history of how they changed everything. And we're talking about this reptilian race or species of beings have been having everyone for so long under this mind control. They set the standard, and that standard is still being passed down. But right now, we're coming into more consciousness. This is a more conscious people, even though a lot of people have been under mind control and was tricked into staying mind control by receiving whatever this new propaganda that they're pushing out on the people with this bioterrorism that they have going on. So I don't want to get too caught up in that. But let's see, moving right along. It says the humans that fed the false kings of the tyranny are rewarded monetarily. That's what I was saying. Like, it's people that look like me, that's working for the opposing side to go against everything humanity stands for you to love all people, no matter what your ethnic background is, to see that we have all been tricked, or that we've been, under this mind control and in this slumber for so long. It's time to wake each other up and time to unify so we can get back to the basics, which is love and peace and harmony. So moving right along, it says, one more time, it says those humans, and even in everywhere you go on this planet, is people that are of your um, people, quote unquote, but they're not for you, meaning they are brought off. They are brought by the elites, by the reptilian race, to push this agenda on you. And you look at them and say, well, they my people, so, which they not your people, but because they don't operate on the same frequency as you and on the same consciousness as you, meaning love, peace, for humanity, us working together as a whole to, for the continuation of the human race to evolve in a more safer, positive way, so our children and grandchildren can live a certain type of lifestyle that, you know we have not been able to. We are, as I mentioned one time before, the world is in reverse. You are in reverse. I was once also in reverse, meaning the continuation of this stigma or this agenda. We're still playing that game, and we're still playing that, part in that type of agenda, when it's time to do away with that old system and those reptilians and the elites that are in power, that are causing these chaoses, the global warming and everything else that they said, the global warming, climate control, when we all know that they have found a way to also, with their AI technology, to control the weather, to control the storms, and everything else you can think of, the earthquakes, caused by you don't know what they're doing to the earth's core. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know what type of technology, unless you're working for one of these companies. And if you are, and you are creating these certain type of devices to destroy the world or to destroy a certain group of people, then shame on you. Okay, because you are still a slave when you're doing that type of work to cause that type of effect on humanity. So moving right along. Okay, those humans that feed the falsehood, the false kings of tyranny, are rewarded monetarily, which is money, and or status. Okay, if we could get you to do this, go in your, go back to where you're from and get your people, get the communities where you're from to do certain things, to okay certain things, to look the other way while these certain things are happening. Those people right there are the ones that also need to go with the reptilians, and y'all need to go create somewhere else, and or what have you. So I call them wolves in sheep clothing, when they look like you but they talk differently, when they look like you but they're not for the betterment of you. They are brought out, as well as a lot of politicians and city councilmen, your local city and state, them the worst ones. Okay. um those humans that feed the false kings of tyranny and rewarded monetarily, or with status, power, to fame, or the rest of the underlining on the earth. The Orion's group created um, the Orion's group created the system that operate behind every world power or pillar of society. They use technology, mind control, suppressor, parasites, which you all see now, parasites, SPE, and have downloaded their predator mind to the people of the earth through invasion of the uh, planetary logos in order to enslave and dominate the direction of human affairs of the earth. So I went over that, which was the false kings of tyranny, which are the negative aliens, a group of the NAA, which are the reptilians. So I hope you all are keeping up with that. And I went over that one. Um, I'm back to the original um, Lyran race right now. It says essentially in the seed of war over consciousness between Christ and the Antichrist. So I'm going to click on Christ. Christ is the crystal star. God, uh, sovereign, free. It says law of one. And this was from the Law of One book of, the book of law. So if you can go and do the book, go find the book of law, you'll understand about Christ as they use it. They flipped it. It was not. It was not an actual Christ. It's a consciousness. It's a type of mindset to have. And as I mentioned in my cause and effect energy about the mind control, the mind manipulation, the mind, if you're not strong enough and don't have this knowledge or not seeking the right knowledge or sound doctrine to help build you up and to make your mind strong to fight against these principalities and these agendas. Christ, let's see. And January 2013, our planet has come to the time of the promised return of Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness, which is the mindset of unity, love, and peace for all, for us to unify on a greater scale, no matter what our ethnic background is, especially when we're all faced with the same things. We all hit with the same agendas, you know, that will make you think that we don't have control. So, what is the Christ consciousness? As I'm going to show you, it says crystal star. Crystal star. And there's another picture, the law of one, which was set from the beginning of our creation and and why the war occurred in the cosmos in the constellation of the stars a long time ago. So in January 2013, our planet has come to the time of the promise of the return of Christ consciousness. And you see how they reference to a state of mind, which is of love, unity, and peace. Okay? Christ consciousness and the externalization of the crystal star presence, the star that rises within your heart, teach you how to love. The crystal star present, the cosmic crystals. And I'll zoom in on that word. If you all can see that. I know I'm showing it backwards, but Christ soul, which is unity consciousness. Unity consciousness is being now the rehabilitated, the organic timeline for the GSF ascension, timeline made for preserving human sovereignty on the planet Earth. Okay, I am um, for life. Okay, for life, for all people to live in harmony. So it says that um, in January 2013, our planet has come to the time of the promise of the return of Christ consciousness. As most people, I believe Brother Wisdom would say, that there's nobody coming to save us, it's you. Yes, he is right. But there are um, other beings and deities that we can look to help us, that are helping us, that are giving Brother Wisdom, Rashad Jamal, myself, as well as Isis Wisdom, a lot of other people, Don Napoleon, um, um, I don't know her name. She just this other young lady that I want to quote. Um, I don't know her name because I know her YouTube, but it's she just started a new page. So what have you, that are receiving certain information from the higher source of creation, that eternal source, that atom source, the seed of where all of us in this whole planet and constellation was created on, are helping us. And I've seen and received visits and also took pictures of these different entities that are coming to our atmosphere to aid and help us. Okay, or to raise your consciousness, to wake you up out of your slumber, and speak to the people on a greater scale, to feed your mind and to wake you up from out of this mind control state that you're in. Like zombies, when you're under mind control, you have no control to move for yourself. You wait for other people to tell you how to move and what to do with your bodies. And that's what's going on now. So, one more time, it says in January 2013, our planet has come to the time of the promised return of Christ consciousness, and in the internalization of the crystal star, the presence of the cosmic crystal's unity consciousness is being now to rehabilitate the organic timelines. The organic timelines. And I'll click on timelines. When I clicked on the timeline, it gives me this photo here. It gives me this photo. It's a lot, you guys. So let's go over the timeline. It says within the creational mechanics of the holographic structure which manifests the harmonic universe, that are two timelines per dimensional octave. So without our harmonic universe, see the universal time matrix making up the reality of 3D Earth within the third dimension, from 1D, 2D, 3D. It goes on to say that we have six timelines. We have six timelines. When we energetically evolve and move in the octave, being initiated into higher frequencies, we are also exposed to more dimensional octaves. Therefore, many potential timelines within these dimensions for future timelines are stations or identity, commonly called soul or oversoul. Oversoul. I'll go back to that. And when they reference to oversoul, it goes back through the third triad of intelligence. Just wanted to show that. Okay. So it says, see the universal time matrix making up the reality of 3D Earth within three dimensions: 1D, 2D, 3D. We have six timelines. We are energetically evolve and move up in octave, being initiated into higher frequencies. We are exposed to more dimensional octaves, therefore, more potential timelines within dimensions. For future timelines are stations, identity, meaning you can, the higher you move up in frequency, um, and it reference to it says commonly called the soul. You get an upgrade of you. You get an upgrade. Um, if you all ever watched the Netflix series called The Travelers, when they receive the travelers, they have the same body, but then they get like different souls to operate within their bodies. That is what's um, coming out of this passage of this article that I'm reading right now. So it says we have six timelines when we energetically evolve and move up in octave. Okay, you still have to operate this body, this shell, which is a prism for the soul to serve its purpose or to do whatever it is to do here. It needs a avatar. This is your avatar, your sackcloth. It says commonly called soul or oversoul. So as you move up an octave and you level up, you're not going to keep the same spirit within you. Okay, you're going to get an upgrade, as I mentioned and referred back to the Netflix series called The Travelers. Once you operate on a certain frequency, it says when you are energetically evolved and move up an octave, being initiated into a higher frequency, we are exposed to more dimensional octaves, therefore more potential timelines. Okay, within these dimensions of future timelines are stations or identity. So when it says station or identity, commonly called soul, oversoul, higher self, which compromise body parts or whole spiritual bodies of our forgotten selves. So that's why I reference to the Netflix series The Travelers, to give you a kind of knowledgeable reference to something that you might have watched or seen. When you elevate on a high frequency, and you vibrate on a higher frequency, as it said that you are exposed to dimensional octaves, meaning where you can elevate to receive an upgrade of yourself, a higher self, meaning I'll go on. Um, I'll start back from when we energetically evolve and move up an octave, being initiated in higher frequencies, we are exposed to more dimensional octaves, therefore more potential timelines within these dimensions of future timelines, as I've experienced where, and I tried to explain it to, I was on the WGAG radio, Blog Talk Radio, Lockdown Radio on YouTube that's hosted by Don Nicoleon, and we do talks on this level as far as then you can open up and share certain things because she brings out a different side of communication amongst the people that listens to this show. um, and I was able once to tell her that certain things, like I see things before they happen, and most of you all would say that's deja vu. No, if you go back over this, what I just said, and listen to what I just said, it says when we energetically evolve and move up in octave, being initiated into higher frequencies, we are exposed to more dimensional octaves, therefore, more potential timelines. Okay? When you dream, or I say they're visions, or me, my soul has experienced certain things and brought it back to me. I've seen it within my dream and remember what I saw, and then it actually took place. How did that happen? As it said, potentially you are exposed to more timelines. More timelines. It says frequencies, we are exposed to more dimensional octaves. Therefore, potential timelines within these dimensions of future timelines. So if you had a dream about something and then it happened later on, that means that your spirit man, not your flesh. There's no glory in the flesh. And I said that to say that the spirit has access to these other dimensions. When you have your spirit, your spirit has access to this. Okay, when you vibrate on a certain frequency, when you give out this certain frequency of energy, as it says we are energetically evolved. Once more, you guys, we are energetically evolved and move up in octave. Being initiated into higher frequencies, we are exposed to more dimensional octaves. Therefore, more potential timelines within these dimensions of the future. So you might call it deja vu, or it could have came from you having a dream where you went into another timeline while you were sleeping. And as I recently, I talked to my children about these things, just to put them up on everything that's going on in this world and everything that's happening to them in this timeline that we're in the flesh, in the physical sense. But I was telling my daughter, I said, when we sleep, we have the ability to travel down different dimensions, go into different timelines to see whatever it is that we need to see. That's only if you don't have a block, a mental block, or a soul trauma, as it said in the beginning of the readings that I did this particular video here. If you don't have a soul trauma block, you got to no blocks. Okay. So yeah, deja vu, or you having a dream and then that dream actually you've gone, the spirit travels to another timeline, and then when you wake up, of course you reconnect with the spirit, excuse me, with the soul, not the spirit, the soul, with the soul. So moving right along, you guys, it says we are exposed to more dimensional octaves, therefore more potential timelines within dimensions of future timelines are stations of identity, commonly called soul, oversoul, higher self, which is compromised body parts or whole spiritual bodies of our forgotten selves. Okay. So these are spiritual, energetic bodies that hold our consciousness, intelligence, um, of our mind. it says that makeup of our spiritual identity, and of which we are designed to reclaim these spiritual energetic pieces during these timeline collapses, which are transpired during ascension cycle. It says this is why on those spiritual ascension paths continually experience their energetic healing by meeting the cellular memory that surface at different stages of evolution in multiple timelines. You ever feel like why you come across certain people, or why you meet certain people, or why you go through certain things? This basically is your spiritual ascension. Whatever trauma that you had in your past life, you get bits and pieces of glimpses of that every time you ask yourself why. you know when you ask yourself why, if you have right knowledge or a great understanding of what is taking place. And even now, like I said, this is the awakening time for the conscious mind to be open to receive right knowledge, for you to come out of that mind control from up underneath the reptilian race that the world is controlled by. The elites, the power of the elites are the reptilian race. That's why there's so, because they were the disagreeable ones. That's why so much chaos amongst humanity now, or because they don't want to be our equal. They want to wipe us out, the human race. It says this is why on spiritual ascension path continually experience their energetic healing by meeting the cellular memories that surface at different stages of evolution and multiple timelines, being able to tune into these various timelines and sense events or identities that exist in those timelines. Like, you ever meet somebody and you don't know them, but you feel like you know them, and because they don't consciously think or operate their conscience or their mind on the same level as you, they wouldn't be able to recognize you like you recognize them. So to say, don't I know you? You ever ask somebody, don't I know you? Do I know you from somewhere? And they say, no, I don't know you. They look at you all crazy. This is why. Because you are, it says, I'll read that again. It says, this is why those on spiritual ascension paths continually experience energetic healing by meeting cellular memories that surface at different stages of evolution and multiple timelines, being able to tune into these various timelines and sense events or identities that exist in those timelines is one definition of becoming multi-dimensional. So you can recognize somebody and you, don't I know you, that thought comes about, and you might even say something to that person. But on this timeline, in the physical sense, because like I said, if they don't operate with the same consciousness or the same awareness or the same spiritual ascension path that you're on, they wouldn't be able to recognize you on this timeline. But in that different future timeline or past timeline, yes, you all are acquainted with one another. You might be family or whatever, friends or whatever, down those other dimensional timelines. And as it says one definition of what I'm explaining is becoming multi-dimensional. If you were able to recognize somebody and you say something and you don't know them, but you recognize them and don't have like, and they say, where you know me from? They might even have that. I've had that happen where I had asked, don't I know you? And they say, where you know me from? No, or whatever. But at the time, I myself did not know the information that I now know that I'm sharing with you all, that is what was taking place. Me becoming becoming multi-dimensional, where I can operate in different timelines And I can see somebody on this timeline that might not be familiar with me, but I am familiar with them because you are operating in multi-dimensional timelines. Moving right along. So just to give you um, a little bit, there's more, but I won't continue on with that. I want to get back to um, the Lyran Galactic History. And we just went over, what did we go over? Okay, we went over the Elohim. We know what the avatar matrix is. It says, but soon as the Lyran War spread in the constellation of Orion, it became war between the false kings of the tyranny mindset and the ideologies of the service of others, which follow the law of one. So you go to the there's a book called the Book of Law, and the law of one, as I mentioned, it's unity, love, and peace. That's one law. That's the law of the whole constellation, and that's why the war began, because the disagreeable ones, which represent the NAA, the reptilian species, they did not want that. They didn't want to follow that. It says essentially this is the seed of war over consciousness between Christ and the Antichrist. So we know now what Christ is. Christ is a crystal star, which is a consciousness of the mind that represents unity, peace, and love. And it also deals with the heart chakra. And the Antichrist, it says, um, essentially, this is the seed of war over the consciousness between Christ and the Antichrist. So, very briefly, let's go over the Antichrist. Imposter Spirit. That's what it says. When I clicked on the Antichrist, it took me to imposter spirit. An imposter is defined as an entity or human being that is saying words or expression or making representation that does not embody nor comprehend nor behave and act in accordance with. As I mentioned, um, on the We Are Woke channel, there was a video that was posted with this young man speaking about, he was speaking about, people, looking at one another and judging a book by its cover, just because you dress a certain type of way and look a certain type of way doesn't mean, it doesn't mean, it's just, your eyes are deceiving because you don't know the person. Like I said, you never judge a book by its cover. You have to open up the book and read its pages. And there was a debate, which he changed the his titlement of the video because he said, good and evil, which one? So, as I mentioned, good and evil, it's not good and evil doesn't have an appearance. It does not. And so many times people are brainwashed and mind manipulated to say, oh, if somebody is dressed in a hoodie or saggy jeans or this way or that way, um, they're a killer, they're a thug. When killers, they have suits, they wear suits and everything else too. So that's why you should never judge a person. That's judging a person by the way their appearance are. Don't do that. If you've been doing that, if you're prone to that, if your parents are teaching you to don't, judge people or anybody you've been around, yeah, put them up onto speed where you really have to open up the pages and get to know a person. If you want to take the time out to do so. Other than that, never judge a person by their appearance. It's always the actions, as this just said, the act. And that's what I wrote on the We Are Woke channel in the comment. I said, you know, good and evil has no look. It has no look. It's an act. The act of evil or the act of goodness. Whatever you define that as, it is a act, not a look. Evil and good and evil is not an appearance. It is an act of evil and an act of kindness. And that's what, if you want to judge somebody off of, you judge them by their actions, not their appearance. Because you're only deceiving your own mind to be that way, to judge somebody by the way they look. You're gonna miss out on a lot of things, and just being in contact with a lot of people. You never judge a book by its cover. Always get to know or pay attention to the acts of that individual, to find what they represent or what they stand for. So it says the act in accordance within a person who pretends to be someone else in order to deceive others, especially for fraudulent gain. Like I said, the only way that you all are deceived because you don't pay attention to the acts that are being committed, whether they're acts of evil or acts of good or purity. You don't understand. That's why are people deceived? Ask yourself, why have you been deceived? Why? It's either because you didn't take time out to get to know a person, because they look nice and they talk a certain way. Don't you know those are the devices that they use to deceive you, to dress a certain way, to come in your house and to have you welcome them in your home, to take advantage of you? So stop allowing yourselves to be deceived by the government, by the elites, whoever. Pay attention to the acts of the individual that are being committed. Pay attention to the acts. If they treat you a certain type of way, the reason why people are deceived, because they pay attention to appearance. Oh, they talk nice, and yeah, how you think people, you could be fooled by anything. Unless you're a strong, watchful person. Not, you ain't got to be paranoid. That's not paranoid. It's just you being on your P's and Q's about people that you come in contact with, and especially about what's going on now. How, necessarily, when people use the word shapeshift, yeah, they shapeshift their identities, not necessarily their look, shapeshift identity. To me, that's where person will talk nice, will dress nice, and everything else, and then later on down the line they turn into somebody else. So you hear them saying, what attracted you to them, they no longer have that about them. They had an identity shapeshift, which that's what I just spoke on about multi dimensions. So you really have to be watchful and on your pivot, and just, yeah, being on guard, being watchful. Don't trust no one, trust the act. Like I said, good and evil is not an appearance. How people are deceived because they trust people. Oh, they talk this way, they're so nice. People will play up underneath you and have a motive behind it. It's always a motive. I don't like that it's that way, but you always have to, yes, give people the benefit of the doubt. But you don't invite people in your home you barely know. You don't even let them know where you live. You don't go out with people that you don't know, because you don't know, they could put something in your drink, you know what I'm saying, and you wind up murdered and dead. I don't care what setting you're on, especially y'all young generation, the college students and stuff like that. Y'all have to really be careful with the people that you subject yourself to, and also the teachings that you are, influenced by, as well as the music and entertainment world that you all are influenced by, and not just for the young folk, older people too. So it says an imposter spirit is the Luciferian or satanic spirit which promote false light, authority, and anti-life, um, through deception, lies or omission, manipulation, malice to promote intentional harm, death, or destruction to serve its personal agenda. These belief systems are bases which form negative ego, which was manifested out of the uh, predator mind of the Orion group. So, what is a spirit imposter? Also, I spoke about this once before. When you operate a certain way, if you operate a certain way, those are the type of spirits, whether they're in the flesh form or whether they're in the spirit form around you, dark spirits. If you're a dark person, you're going to have dark people that operate the same way as you around you. As they say, birds of a feather flock together. Yes, not just birds of a feather in that sense. You have to look at it in a broader mindset, where if you operate on a dark negative energy, you're going to have those dark spirits feeding off of you, feeding off of your, as it said, false lights. They give off false light, meaning they portray themselves to be one way, but all in all, they have a deception to deceive you, to destroy you, to murder you, to do whatever to you. Whereas in the opposite side of the spectrum, if you operate on a higher frequency where you are moving up spiritually, you're becoming a more spiritual being, then you're going to have those spirits around you to protect you, to help you stay watchful, and you're not deceived and waste time on people that are trying to take you out and murder your light source from within. So it says an imposter is the Luciferian or satanic spirit which promotes false light, authority, and anti-life through deception, lies, omission, manipulation, malice, promote intentional harm, death, or destruction to serve its personal agenda. These belief systems are the basis of the negative ego and was manifested out of the predate mind of the Orion group. It also says there's a lot, you guys. I'll continue on. I told y'all this is a lot to go through. Um, and right now I am on imposter spirits. Um, and in regards to, we went over what what Christ and the Antichrist, the difference between that, and this is going into the war that took place. You had the agreeables and the disagreeable ones. The agreeable ones agreed to follow this one law, the law of one, which was for unity, peace, and love. And then you had the Orion's group, the NAA, the reptilians, the reptiles, that were the disagreeable ones and said, no, the humans are not equal to us. So the imposter spirit energy or was inserted and imprinted as our false parents in the spiritual betrayal that we have experienced in our heart and soul. When many people say the heart is deceiving, yes, because you love the wrong way, you love the wrong people, or you were given the wrong love. that was not of peace and harmony, unity and love. So it says, uh, this imposter spirit energy was inserted and imprinted as our false parents of the spiritual betrayal which experienced in our heart and soul. Due to this fact has been crushing for many, because the timeline of the imposter invasion, the false parent has manifested physically, ancestrally, genetically, and energetically, spiritual throughout our sense of identity, throughout our true spiritual identity, our true nature. We are spiritual beings, the spiritual beings that represents unity, love, for all, and peace. Okay, so it says that without our true spiritual identity being incarnated into an enslaved reality deception, humanity has existed in a severe identity crisis. As you see, you got so many titles that we allow the titles to be placed on us, which is mind manipulation for you to put yourself in this category, on this category, and this category, when the world is full of colors. The world is full of different people, with different spiritual and galactic backgrounds, that we're all supposed to live in harmony, and create more and replenish and evolve together, not against one another, not to war with one another. So it says, without our true spiritual identity of being incarnated into an enslaved reality deception, harmony has existed in a severe identity crisis. And I know I'm not the only one that see that, you know, unaware of its purpose, unaware of being interfered with its inner source connection. Right. This manipulation, the negative energy is feeding off of your internal light, to turn you into a disagreeable one, a dark being. You are, against love and peace. You want war, amongst different people. Like I said, when we all, from whatever ethnic background that you're from, we all are facing the same thing right now with this pestilence on the land, with every part of the world. It's being fashioned a certain way and being led by this one world agenda that's being put out in different places, different continents around the world. We hear climate control everywhere. You got this pestilence around the worldwide. So that's what I mean when we're all experiencing the same thing. Not in all ways, but if we can see some of the ways that we are all facing these same things, then we should come together and be able to help stop this from taking place, and to um, get the people that's responsible for these situations that the world is facing in this timeline. We should band together and stop that from taking place, so we could come together and doing that, and live in harmony and evolve, and be more fruitful, and multiply. But it's like it said, the deception of humanity has existed in a severe identity crisis. People don't even speak about humanity anymore. You see all kind of destructions going on, and that's done on purpose. That is done on purpose. So be not deceived. It says, severe identity crisis, unaware of its purpose, unaware of being interfered within its inner source connection. We are tricked into believing the imposter spirit values or purpose was one of being violent, and love for humanity is overall hidden. Yes, the love for humanity, not just for the animals. You got people fighting for animal rights, but you won't stand up for human rights for all people. You know, if you're not standing up for all people, all creations of this planet, you are a part of the problem. You can't just stand up for women's rights and women can do whatever they want for their body. Um, um, I have a right. I don't. I have to mask up. The right to do this. The right to do that. If you don't stand up for a good cause on every level to work together so everybody can live equal, then you are a part of the problem. Whatever party, liberal, Democrat, Republican, whatever party you represent, if you're not standing up for everything to be equal amongst all people, then you are a part of the problem. It says, in the love of humanity, okay, when it's overall hitting. And as I mentioned in my face card video, like how can you go and home if you have children or a wife and say you care for your wife and family, but you don't have a care for the outside world. And a lot of people, say, oh, I don't care about what's going on over there with them people because they ain't my family. I don't care about my family. And then nowadays, even that's the love within amongst family members are hidden and thrown away because there is no love. It's always competition. You all think on an egotistic type of level where you can't see past your own success, or you just you know paying attention to people in a wrong way that takes you off your focus of you being uniquely designed the way that you are to serve whatever role you're here to serve. We all have a role and a part to play. But where people go wrong at when they start paying attention to people and seeing something within somebody else, because that person is serving their purpose. They're on that level because they are where they're supposed to be. But when you get distracted and you start looking and watching people for the wrong reasons, or you watching somebody else use their light and you're not even using your light or trying to tap into your light source to wake whatever it is up within you to help you on your journey to start serving your purpose, to play the role that we all were incarnated in this flesh suit to play for the betterment of the whole planet Earth. We all have a role to play. So y'all get the picture. I'm not going to continue on, although I could with that, but I'm going to go back. And that pretty much the Christ spirit is unity, love, and peace. And the Antichrist is the opposite. And that's all the Antichrist and the Christ. That's each and every last one of us. Those that choose to be on the side of harmony for humanity, to love, to unify in love and peace, and grow in peace, and to flourish this planet Earth the way that it should be flourished amongst the people that exist here and the different ethnic backgrounds. And the Antichrist are the disagreeable ones. They don't want that. They want a war. The Luciferians, the satanic ones, the reptilian ones, the disagreeable ones. So the Christ and Antichrist, there are, you all, and even myself was confused at this point until I came up on this information by my higher self. It brought me to this information. It is a mindset. It is a consciousness. A Christ consciousness is A crystal star. It is a mindset that you have to have. The Antichrist is you. It could be any one of us and many of us. There are many Antichrists. There are many Christs, meaning the mindset, your mind, the way you think positive, the way you're able to use your spiritual abilities and gravitate to your spiritual pathway, your get back to the basics, your roots of being a spiritual being in existence. So Christ is a mind, a state of mind, as well as Antichrist. It is the acts. Okay, are you for humanity? Are you for love and peace? Or are you for war and destruction and chaos, being in the mindset of the Antichrist or the Luciferian race? So moving right along, it says the main original Lyran Elohim humanoid race were committed to the law of one. And what is the law of one? The law of one is comprehended that all things are made of intelligent energy and are a part of all, one of the all, a part of the all. It says the law of one is a scared science of mechanics of Christ consciousness, and are the natural laws govern our universe creation, governing our universal creation, all one. It's the recognition of eternal truth and eternal love, and eternal love is the organic consciousness of infinite creator of God, eternal love. And this is what Isis was pretty much in her last, right where I'm at, the law of one, the comprehension of natural laws govern our universal creation, all one, the law of one creation, you know, coming from one creation, God's creation. It says the Christ consciousness, having that Christ consciousness, not a religion, okay, not a denomination, having mindset, Christ's mindset, and are the natural laws govern our universe. The law of one, all one, is the recognition of eternal truth, is eternal love, and eternal love is organic consciousness of infinite, which means endless, limitless, forever, infinite. The continuation, it never ends. Creator or God or internal love. Consciousness embodied in a form of unity, intelligence, and simultaneously recognized as the inner light of Christos, which is the crystal star. Christ, the crystal star. Unity consciousness is at one with God, and unity consciousness ignites the inner light of Christos, which is Christos. Sounds like crystal, but it's crystal, excuse me, which abbreviated Christ. The light, the inner light of crystal, when actualization and form in the embodiment of an internal God human practice, unity consciousness, and one is directly reflecting the image of God's love reflecting the image of God's love. It says also in this eternal, um, and is eternally protected, but at one with all, and all and one is all with God. Every soul is taking the same journey, but each soul has evolved at a different level. The teachings of the law of one describe the spiritual laws that govern our spiritual evolution. Each dimension in this single system of the world humanism, which merges the cosmos, science, human rights, and spiritualism. And that is the law of one. So back to this one. It says the main original Lyran Elohim humanoid race were committed to the law of one. And that's what I just went over, the law of one, which is the all, having the crystal mindset, once again, which is Christ, not Christ in a religion, not that Christ that the religious group or different dominations out of the Bible use. Not that. It's Christ is a level of consciousness that you have, having the mindset to love, peace, to want unity for all humanity, and love all of God's creation. As well as the Antichrist is not a actual, any one of us at any given time can be Christ or the Antichrist, and a legion of many. There are many agreeable ones and many disagreeable ones. The agreeable ones have the consciousness of Christ, like a love for humanity to unify with everyone, for the continuation for humanity to continue on. And also as well as the Antichrist as well. It says that the Lyran Elohim were supervising the Syrian, the Syrians, the host of the seed of the 12 strand DNA. You all in the Bible, they always talk about the 12 tribes, or I hear different YouTubers speak about the 12 tribes of Israel, when in fact it says that the Lyran Elohim were supervising the Syrian to the host of the seeding of the 12 strands of DNA genetics on the 5D planet Tara. It says these groups involved in the seeding of DNA rehabilitation that's called the Lyran Syrian High Council. So, and I missed a part. It says committing the law of one, service to others, crystal ideology, which is, like I said, having the Christ, which has been misconstrued and flipped in a religious way by the NAA, which is the reptilians, the Orion race, the Luciferians, the satanic race, the disagreeable ones who think like the Antichrist, who want to war and cause chaos and don't want everybody to be equal and to live in peace and harmony and love. It says that the opposing groups were a mixture of practical Melchizedek humanoids, the reptilian race that propagated service to self, and Antichrist method, as I was just going over about the Christ and Antichrist. So let's click on Melchizedek. Melchizedek are the genetic host race of Earth's ascension cycle. For the last 35,000 years, they were here to help the earth heal, evolve out of the lower dimension, of that lower frequency. That right now, everybody's not on that low frequency. I myself, thank God that I'm not on that low frequency. I'm on a higher frequency. And I want to raise the vibration of whoever may come across these videos just with knowledge. People will perish for the lack of knowledge because we have been manipulated. The mind, you know, we have been manipulated from the beginning of our birth into this world. So we have to break that. So we can see a continuation of the world evolving in a more safer, healthier way for the future of our children and grandchildren, you know, or whatever families and that you want to have, or the continuation of the planet that we know. And now we're digging into why this planet was created. I went over a few other things with you all, but we're on Melchizedek, are the genetic host and race of the Earth's ascension cycle for the last 35,000 years. They were here to help the Earth heal, evolve from the lower dimensions of the phantom matrix, because we are coming too close, because we are coming to the close of the root race. What is the root race? I'll go back and finish reading that. The root race, as a part of the human race and other ET races, which have contributed to the participated in several levels of the planetary experience via experiments in the development of human consciousness. Okay, the human consciousness at various times, and I went over timelines with you all. The timeline is 1D, 2D, 3D. 3D, from 1 to 3, that is your personality, the 3D dimension. There's 6 timelines, and there are also 15 dimensions. So within the first 3 timelines, which is 1, 2, and 3D, that dimension, they call it 3D because it's multi-dimensional. And the 3D timeline, that and it all has to do with what you have from within inside of you, your chakras, your personality. And from 4D, 5D, and 6D, that consists of your soul or your oversoul. And then it goes all the way up to 15D. And I went over that at the beginning of the video. You will have to go back and watch it. As I said, I will come back. I know where I stopped at on root race. I'm going to do a part 2. My laptop right now is going dead. And the last time I came on here about the Lyran starseed race, which they started everything. They started everything. So in a good way, as far as in creation, and me just trying to find my galactic family where I belong, and the history of the universe and the cosmos and different species that we have on this planet. We might all have the same color, and you within your ethnic group might have the same color, or you could be born into a certain family, but you are given a soul that does not resonate with the family that you came in. And I talked about that at the beginning of the video when I spoke about the Netflix series The Travelers, when we were speaking about the different timelines. So I'm going to come back and do a part 2. My laptop is about to go dead, and it's almost going into 2 hours of this video. I don't want to make it too long because people will not get interested, but I dropped a lot of jewels in this message. I gave a lot of details to help people more understand about what the text and stuff was saying to us, and other various things too. So I don't want to do it too long because I don't want to unattract people when they see how long the video is. So I'm going to break it up. So I'm going to come back maybe tomorrow, definitely maybe tomorrow early on in the day, afternoon, and finish doing a part 2 because there is a lot to cover, a lot to cover. So I hope that you would go and watch from the beginning to the end, and I will be back for a part 2. I love you all. You know, we're all on this spiritual journey individually so we can meet together on the same timeline in the same unity of love and peace so we can move forward, you know, in this world and on this planet and not continue with the destruction of this planet. So I love each and every last one of you. As I said, this is a universal message. And I hope that everyone that come across this video is filled up. If you have any questions or anything, I'll be back tomorrow. And I'm going to end this video. And I hope you all enjoy the knowledge that I shared. I'll be back tomorrow.